What if the thing you're trying hardest to forget is actually the thing you need to remember the most? We don't like to talk about our mistakes. We hide them, we downplay them, we bury them so deep that even we try to forget they ever happened. But deep down, they never really go away. They echo in our minds when everything else is quiet. They show up in our doubts, in our hesitation, in the way we question ourselves right before we're about to take a step forward. The truth is, our last mistake isn't just a memory. It's a message, and the moment we stop running from it, we begin to grow. Think about it, that one mistake. The one you regret, the one you replay at night, the one you wish you could undo. Why does it still hurt? Not just because of what happened, but because of what it taught you, or rather, what it tried to teach you. That sting you feel, that's not weakness, that's awareness. That's your mind showing you exactly where things went wrong so you can choose differently next time. But if you ignore it, if you pretend it never happened, you miss the lesson, and if you miss the lesson, you'll repeat the mistake. That's the part nobody tells you. Your mistake didn't come to break you. It came to shape you, but shaping hurts. Growth isn't clean or comfortable, it's messy. It's painful, and it often looks like failure before it feels like freedom. But here's what most people never understand. Your mistake is your teacher. And if you're willing to listen, not just look at it, but really listen, you'll realize it's been trying to guide you, not destroy you. We're taught to chase perfection, to always have the answers, to avoid looking weak. But real strength, it's found in humility, in being able to look your mistake in the eye and say, yes, I did that. I messed up. I could have done better. That kind of ownership builds character. That kind of honesty builds power. Because when you take responsibility, you take control. You stop being a victim of your past and start becoming the author of your future. There's a reason why some people fall apart after a failure and others rise stronger. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's perspective. The ones who rise are the ones who ask the right question. Not why did this happen to me, but what can I learn from this? That one shift changes everything. Because when you see your mistake as a teacher, you stop fearing it. You start growing from it, and that growth, that's the reward. That's what separates those who stay stuck from those who break through. If you're watching this, it means something inside you already knows you were meant for more. That this mistake, no matter how bad it feels, doesn't define you. It refines you, but only if you let it. Only if you stop running and start listening. And if you stay with this message until the end, you'll walk away with more than just motivation. You'll walk away with a shift, a new lens, a new understanding of who you are becoming. The truth is, we don't learn much when things are easy. We grow when it hurts. We evolve when we're forced to. That last mistake, it cracked something in you, maybe your pride, maybe your confidence. But cracks let the light in, and inside that light is the clarity you've been missing. Clarity about who you really are, what you truly want, and what no longer serves the person you're becoming. So if you've been carrying that weight, if you've been living with the guilt, the regret, the shame, breathe. You're not broken. You're becoming. You're being taught by life itself. And the lesson isn't that you failed. The lesson is that you're still here, still capable, still learning, and now more than ever, you're ready to become the person you were always meant to be. Don't waste the pain, use it. Because your best teacher isn't the one who told you what to do. It's the mistake that showed you what not to do. And that kind of wisdom can't be taught in words. It has to be lived. So the question now isn't whether you made a mistake. It's what you'll do with it. Will you bury it? Or will you build from it? What if the one thing you've been trying to forget is the very thing that holds the key to your next breakthrough? We've all been there. That moment where everything falls apart, the decision you regret, the words you wish you could take back, the silence that followed after you failed, and then the feeling, the sinking weight in your chest, the questions running on a loop. Asterisk, why did I do that? What's wrong with me? How do I move on from this? Asterisk, it doesn't matter how strong you think you are. One mistake, one moment of weakness, and it can feel like everything you've worked for is gone. Just like that. And what do most people do? They try to move past it as fast as they can. They bury the feeling, they avoid the memory, they pretend it never happened because facing it hurts too much. But here's the truth. What you avoid owns you. What you ignore controls you. That mistake, it didn't show up to break you. It showed up to teach you, and until you face it, feel it, and learn from it, it will keep showing up in different forms again and again. You were never meant to be perfect. You were meant to grow . And growth doesn't come from getting it right every time. It comes from getting it wrong and refusing to give up. The people who rise, the people who truly succeed, they aren't the ones who have avoided failure. They're the ones who used it. They looked at their mess and found the message. They saw the pain and turned it into power. And that's what you have the chance to do right now. Think about your last mistake. Not the small ones, the one that still lingers in the back of your mind, the one that shook you. Maybe it cost you time, maybe it cost you someone you loved, maybe it shattered your confidence. Now ask yourself this. What did it show you? Not what it took, but what it revealed. Maybe it showed you how far you'd strayed from your values. Maybe it uncovered a weakness in your mindset, your discipline, your focus. Maybe it exposed a truth you didn't want to face. Whatever it was, there's wisdom there, and that wisdom is not your punishment. It's your gift if you're willing to receive it. Mistakes are not the end of the road. They're the beginning of self-awareness. They're the mirror that life holds up and says, this is who you were. Do you still want to be that person? And if your answer is no, if your answer is never again then congratulations. You just stepped into the most powerful phase of your life. Not the one where everything goes right. The one where you stop running, start owning, and finally start becoming who you were meant to be. See, the world has taught us to be ashamed of failure, to hide it, erase it, move on like it never happened. But the truth is, your mistake is a treasure. It carries the exact information you need to become stronger, to become wiser, to stop making decisions from insecurity or fear or pressure. Because once you've burned your hand on the fire, you don't need anyone to tell you it's hot. You no and now you act differently. That is not failure. That's evolution . And here's the reward if you stay with this message until the end. You'll begin to see yourself differently. You won't look in the mirror and see someone who failed. You'll see someone who learned someone who endured someone who is still here, still standing, still capable of becoming something great. And that mindset, that quiet, steady belief in your ability to rise again, is the foundation of every lasting success story. The people who go far are not the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who got hit and chose to get back up. The ones who got told you'll never make it and decided to prove them wrong. The ones who made the wrong call, paid the price, and used it as fuel. That can be you. It already is you. If you're willing to own your mistake instead of letting it own you. So no, you don't need to forget it. You don't need to erase it. You need to learn from it. You need to thank it. Because it showed you who you were. So you can become who you're meant to be. That is the real lesson. That is the real power. And once you understand that, you stop fearing mistakes. You start using them. This is your moment. Not the moment everything went right, but the moment everything finally made sense. The moment you realized your last mistake wasn't your downfall, it was your turning point. What if the very thing you're ashamed of, the moment you wish you could erase, is actually the lesson you've been waiting for your whole life? We spend so much time running from our mistakes, pretending they didn't happen, hiding them behind fake smiles and forced confidence. But deep down, they don't go away. They sit there, buried under guilt and regret, showing up when it's quiet, reminding you of what you could have done better, what you should have said, who you failed to be. And for most people, that's where the story ends. They live their whole life trying to avoid the discomfort of their past, but avoiding the pain doesn't heal it. It only delays the lesson. Because here's the truth most people never hear. Your best teacher isn't your success. It's your last mistake. That moment that still haunts you, it has more to give you than all your victories combined, but you'll never find the wisdom if you're too afraid to look, the pain you felt. The moment everything went wrong, it wasn't meant to break you, it was meant to wake you up. It was trying to tell you something about your choices, about your mindset, about your limits. But most of us are too busy blaming ourselves or blaming others to actually hear the message. So we miss the lesson, and when we miss the lesson, we repeat the mistake over and over until we finally stop running and choose to face it. Everyone wants to grow. Everyone wants to be stronger, smarter, wiser, more successful. But growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from confrontation, from facing the things inside of you that you'd rather avoid. It comes from looking in the mirror and being honest about who you were when you fell short. Not to shame yourself, but to understand. Because when you understand, you change. When you change, you evolve. And when you evolve, your life starts moving in a direction that no longer repeats the same pain. The reason most people stay stuck isn't because they're weak. It's because they're avoiding the truth. They don't want to feel the sting of regret, so they numb it. They don't want to feel like a failure, so they distract themselves with fake wins. But at some point, life forces you to stop and reflect. And when it does, you have two options. You can stay bitter, or you can get better. You can let your mistake define you, or you can let it refine you. Imagine for a moment that your biggest regret, the thing you beat yourself up over, is actually the moment your future self will look back on and say, "That's where it all changed." That's what's possible if you're willing to stop avoiding and start learning. If you're willing to stop seeing your mistake as a punishment and start seeing it as a teacher, not a soft, gentle teacher, but the kind that's honest, the kind that doesn't sugarcoat, the kind that pushes you to grow even when it's uncomfortable. Every scar has a story, but the story doesn't have to be one of defeat. It can be one of awakening, because you are not your past. You are not your mistake. You are the person who survived it. The person who's still here. The person who can take what happened and turn it into fuel. Fuel for your purpose. Fuel for your strength. Fuel for your next chapter. And here's the reward if you stay with this message. You'll stop fearing failure. You'll start welcoming feedback. You'll begin to see every mistake as a stepping stone, not a setback. And that shift in perspective, it will change everything. Because once you stop hiding from your mistakes, you become unstoppable. You stop walking on eggshells, you stop guessing your worth, you start owning your story, and that ownership, that decision to take your pain and turn it into power, that's when you step into your true potential. So don't run from it anymore. Don't pretend it didn't happen. Sit with it, learn from it, ask it what it came to teach you, because buried inside that mistake is the version of you that you've been searching for. The one who doesn't fold under pressure, the one who doesn't let fear lead, the one who falls and chooses to rise, and that version of you isn't found in your best moments, it's forged in your worst. It's born in your last mistake. Have you ever asked yourself why the moments that hurt the most are the ones you remember the longest? It's strange, isn't it? We forget birthdays, conversations, names. But that one moment, the one where we made the wrong choice, where we let someone down, where we failed ourselves, that moment lives on. It shows up when you're alone. It whispers in your quietest hours. It becomes the weight you carry even when no one else can see it. And no matter how hard you try to shake it off, it sticks. But what if that weight isn't there to break you? What if it's there to build you? We live in a world that tells us to be perfect, to get it right the first time, to hide our flaws, bury our mistakes, and pretend like we've got it all figured out. But life doesn't work that way. Growth doesn't come from pretending. It comes from falling flat on your face, feeling the pain, and making the choice to rise again. That choice that asterisk moment of decision, is what separates the person who stays stuck in regret from the person who rises with purpose. Your last mistake wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't bad luck. It was a message. A moment of truth designed to teach you something about yourself, about your mindset, your character, your limits, and your power. But here's the hard part. That lesson won't reveal itself to someone who's too afraid to face it. You have to look at it. You have to own it, because that's where the real power lies. Not in pretending you're perfect, but in being brave enough to admit that you're not, and still refusing to give up. Think about it. What did your last mistake really teach you? Not the surface level stuff, but the deep, uncomfortable truth. Maybe it showed you how easily you settle for less than you deserve. Maybe it revealed how much fear still controls your choices. Maybe it opened your eyes to the fact that you've been living someone else's life, chasing someone else's dream. Whatever it was, that pain didn't come without purpose. It came to wake you up. You don't learn strength by being comfortable. You learn it by being stretched, by being tested, by being broken down just enough to see what you're really made of. And that's why your last mistake is your greatest teacher, because it didn't just show you what went wrong. It showed you where you need to grow, and growth is never easy. It demands honesty. It demands accountability. It demands that you stop blaming everyone and everything around you and start looking within. That's where the transformation begins. When you stop seeing your mistake as the end and start seeing it as the beginning asterisk. The beginning of self-awareness, the beginning of maturity, the beginning of real change, and when you stay with that truth, when you don't run from it but learn from it, you become unstoppable, because now you're not just living from experience. You're living from wisdom, and that wisdom, that's what this world needs more of. People who have fallen and gotten back up, people who have failed and still show up, people who don't wear masks but wear scars like armor, because they've earned every lesson written in them. You're not meant to live a life untouched by pain. You're meant to live a life shaped by it, refined by it, strengthened by it. So don't hate your mistake. Don't wish it away. Don't bury it in silence. Because the truth is that moment, the one you want to erase, might just be the reason you rise. If you stay till the end of this message, here's what you'll walk away with. Not a quick fix, not empty motivation, but a shift. A deeper understanding of yourself, a mindset that no longer runs from pain but uses it, a heart that no longer fears failure but welcomes growth, because real growth, it doesn't come from doing everything right. It comes from doing something wrong, and being brave enough to turn it into something right. So stop waiting to be perfect. Start using what life has already given you, even the painful parts, especially the painful parts. You don't need to forget your last mistake. You need to honor it, because it taught you more than success ever could. It showed you what matters. It showed you what needs to change. It showed you who you are and who you could be . And that is the most powerful lesson of all. Have you ever made a mistake so painful that it changed the way you see yourself? Not just a small error, not something you laugh off later, but a moment that hits you like a wave you never saw coming. A mistake that shakes you, that leaves you lying awake at night, asking, what if I had done it differently? That kind of moment has a power most people never fully understand, because in that single instant, everything you thought you were gets challenged. Your confidence takes a hit. Your trust in yourself slips, and suddenly you're no longer walking forward. You're stuck in rewind, reliving something you can't undo. But here's the part no one tells you. That mistake, it wasn't there to destroy you. It was there to teach you. You see, pain is not the enemy. Mistakes are not signs of failure. They're signals, warnings, lessons wrapped in discomfort. When you touch a hot stove, you don't blame the heat. You remember the burn. And because you remember the burn, you never make the same move again. That's the gift of your last mistake. It shows you something about yourself that success never could. It reveals what needs fixing. It exposes the parts of your character still under construction. It drags the hidden weaknesses into the light so you can stop pretending and start growing. But most people run from this. They bury their mistake deep in shame. They try to forget. They label themselves as a failure, and worse. They begin to believe it. They confuse what they did with who they are . But you are not your past. You are the person who survived it. The one who walked through the fire and came out the other side, scarred maybe but stronger. There's a quiet power that comes from being humbled. When life knocks you down, when your plan falls apart, when you let someone down or lose your way, those aren't the end of the road. They're the beginning of something deeper. Because when you finally stop hiding from your failure, when you stop making excuses, when you look at yourself with complete honesty, that's when everything starts to shift. That's when you begin to rebuild, not just your circumstances, but your mindset. Imagine if you could stop seeing that mistake as a weight on your back and start seeing it as a compass. What if that low point was the exact turning point you needed? What if it wasn't meant to break you, but to rebuild you into someone stronger, wiser, more aware? That shift in perspective changes everything, because the moment you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What is this here to teach me?" that's when you start growing. That's when your mistake stops being your enemy and becomes your mentor. And here's why this matters more than ever. Your future depends on the way you respond to failure, not on how often you fall, but on whether you get back up with asterisk understanding asterisk. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common. They learned from what tried to break them. They didn't erase their mistakes. They studied them. They kept the lesson and left behind the shame. That's what you have the chance to do right now. And if you stay till the end of this journey, you won't just feel inspired. You'll be equipped. You'll have a new lens, a mindset that doesn't crumble every time you mess up. A quiet confidence that comes from knowing your worst day didn't end you. It shaped you. That's the power you unlock when you stop seeing your mistake as something to be ashamed of and start seeing it as the greatest lesson life could have handed you. This is not about being perfect. It's about being real. It's about facing the truth of where you fell short and choosing to rise anyway, because growth never feels like glory in the moment. It feels like breaking, like loss, like regret, but underneath all of that is a seed, and if you nurture it, if you sit with it, learn from it, and refuse to give up, something incredible begins to grow. You become someone who isn't scared to fail anymore, someone who doesn't fear mistakes, but uses them, someone who understands that the road to greatness is paved with moments of falling and rising, again and again. That's where true strength is forged, not in perfection, but in resilience. So the next time you remember that moment, that mistake, don't turn away, don't push it down, look it in the eye and say thank you. Because without it, you wouldn't be the person you're becoming, and the person you're becoming is exactly who you were meant to be.